I did respect him. I don't respect him anymore because he say I'm not gonna do what they want me to do and this and that.
No chance. But then I watched it the next month. I was like, he actually did way better than I thought he would have did. But people forget Jake Paul rostered Ohio State roster, so he's tough. He's not as good boxer, as good skill, but he's tough.
Paul beat Anthony Joshua. That's insane. That's not real. That's not real in any facet. There was never a chance. There's never a chance.
Interview: Canelo Alvarez mocked Jake Paul after his fight with Anthony Joshua, saying Jake should stop acting like a real boxer. He criticized Jake for stepping into a world that is far above his level and told him to stick to what he truly is instead of trying to copy professional fighters. Canelo made it clear that Jake's boxing attempts were embarrassing and that he shouldn't pretend to be something he clearly isn't, single quotes.
Takes, right? But you need to do your best or do what you do, not try to be something else. Just do your best as a person. Sometimes it's enough, sometimes for the...
Lean White admitted that Jake Paul never had a real chance against Anthony Joshua. Still, he was surprised by how long Jake managed to last. Jake showed toughness, likely because of his wrestling background, and survived by staying cautious instead of trying to win the fight. However, White believes this should be the end. Taking heavy punches, suffering broken jaws, and fighting clear mismatches is too much now. It's not smart or sustainable. White also made it clear that if he fought Jake himself, it wouldn't last long. Jake showed heart, but continuing like this only risks serious damage.
But then I watched it the next month. I was like, he actually did way better than I thought he would have did. But people forget Jake Paul rostered Ohio State roster, so he's tough. He's not as good boxer, as good skill, but he's tough. Wrestling is a very competitive sport in America, and to be a Ohio State wrestling level, you have to be they're physically tough and physically strong. So yeah, he was tough. That's why he survived in there. He did what he had to do in there. He got tagged with a few shots, and he did extremely well. AJ did poor.
In those situations where the fighter is that negative and had those kind of tactics, he went to ground a few times, etc. I don't think people quite understand it. It doesn't matter who you are, it's quite difficult. People expect AJ within 20 seconds to literally, with the first punch thrown or the first jab thrown, just to knock him out. It's not that easy, is it, when a fighter is kind of going in there to just survive?
It's always easier to beat someone that's coming to win than someone that's in there to survive. But they should have known that. They should have known that Jake Paul is never going to come to win. But it's just mad that AJ couldn't cut the ring off. He just made him run. He couldn't cut the ring off and hit with punches, and he was swinging and missing a few times. And obviously Jake Paul was hitting with a few punches. I was like, I was surprised that he and I was surprised that it took so much runs to get him out of there. And then when he did knock him out, he didn't knock him out outright. He broke his jaw and stuff, but Jake was alright. He just sort of got up and just said, my jaw is broken. He didn't get sparked. I was kind of surprised. I was very surprised. Because that right hand was a big one. I thought, damn, okay. He took it and got up. So maybe Jake is a physically tougher and stronger person than people think he is.
I'm assuming you don't blame Joshua for the money being talked about, 40-50 million, for doing that. No. Oh.
No. I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. I'll fight Jake Paul next if he wants it. I'll take that. But I'll go after him though. I'll tell you what, I'll definitely put him away 1 or 2 rounds. No way he's getting past that. Because that's like that's such a big moral victory for Jake.
Canelo Alvarez admitted that Jake Paul has improved since his earlier fights, he said. Jake now shows better technique, timing, and toughness in the ring. Canelo acknowledged that Jake's progress is real and that his determination deserves some respect. However, he still believes Jake should stop now. Canelo said Jake has already gone too far by facing fighters well above his level and risking serious injury. He stressed that continuing down this road isn't wise and that Jake has done enough. Canelo has often joked about Jake's choice of opponents, pointing out that he usually fights retired or non-elite fighters instead of true professionals. When asked if he would ever fight Jake, Canelo joked that maybe it could happen when Jake turns 50. This comment highlighted the huge gap between real champions and celebrity boxing, while keeping a playful but dismissive tone.
I hope he improved more and he do a really good job. Believe I say this and serious. I hope he doing really good job and improving boxing and it's fine.
Brendan, Schaub said the idea of Jake Paul beating Anthony Joshua was pure fantasy. While Jake has surprising power for someone around 200 pounds, his skills are nowhere near elite heavyweight level. The difference in experience, technique, and conditioning between Jake and top fighters like Joshua is massive, Schaub explained. That no amount of hype or social media fame can close that gap. Jake's effort and courage deserve credit, but realistically, he is still badly outmatched. The belief that he could compete at the highest level of boxing simply isn't realistic, showing the clear difference between internet fame and true boxing greatness.
Anthony Joshua, that's insane. That's not real. That's not real in any facet. There was never a chance. There's never a chance. And the Jake Paul fans, and I was getting this a ton from in DMs and comments going, well, everyone has a puncher's chance. That's an uneducated opinion. A puncher's chance, yes. If they're in a bar and Anthony Joshua's there at the pub and Jake Paul were to sneak up behind him and hit him in the back of the head or, in the side or something, maybe, even then, he's a little light in the ass, but maybe that's a puncher's chance. In a professional bout where a professional fighter at the level of Anthony Joshua is at, and he is going into a ring knowing and expecting to get hit, there is no puncher's chance when there's that much discrepancy in talent level. There's not, especially when the size difference. And some of you will say, Jake Paul hits hard. To you, yes, to you. But also, Jake Paul hits hard for a 200-pound man. He wouldn't even measure in the top 1,000 professional heavyweight boxers in the world as far as the strength knockout meter, if there is such a thing. It's not possible. So a lot of you were tuning in for saying, well, he has a puncher's chance. That's not real. That doesn't exist here. And now they could do this, but I don't think it's gonna get the same amount of views, but it would set expectations. If, when this fight was announced, Jake Paul's team said, hey, we're fighting Anthony Joshua. Who thinks we can last 8 rounds? Who thinks we can go all 8 rounds? Who thinks Jake Paul can go 8 rounds?
Adam Booth gave an honest breakdown of Jake Paul's performance. He noted that Jake managed to make Anthony Joshua miss several times, which is impressive considering the huge experience gap. Booth pointed out that Jake's footwork, movement, and positioning had clearly improved, showing more discipline than in past fights. This forced Joshua to slow down and reset, preventing him from landing clean shots consistently. While Jake is still far from elite level, Booth said these moments show real progress and prove that smarter movement and patience can make even top fighters work harder than expected.
Paul shared a ring. Your takeaways from the 6 rounds that we saw, presuming you watched?
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That takes balls, but he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a 2-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. Yeah. That shot
he threw with serious intention, has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, like it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
I know everyone will come with the idea that, oh, well, AJ should just go in there one round and smash him to bits, and that should be it was a big ring, right? Perhaps he could have cut the ring off a bit better, but would I be right in saying that regardless of skill level, if you forget about that with the two for a second, if someone is on the back foot on their bike and doing what Jake was doing, it's difficult no matter who you are, no matter the kind of separation in skill level.
It's a big ring, and you've either got to run at him and look like a novice yourself, or just take your time and understand.
That interview, Sergio Mora shared his disappointment after watching Jake Paul fight Anthony Joshua. He observed that Jake relied mostly on simple forward and backward movement, without much side-to-side motion. This made it harder for Joshua to land clean punches. Mora said this approach helped Jake survive at times, but it lacked the complexity needed at a high level. Limited lateral movement stopped Joshua from fully using angles, forcing him to reset often. Mora's criticism showed that while Jake was tough, his overall footwork and ring skills were still basic compared to experienced.
Paul wasn't so much moving laterally all the time. He was literally running. Look at some of those rounds. He was running. He was going north to south, not side to side. He was running. Anthony Joshua should have been able to cut the ring off. And the times that AJ had Jake Paul cornered, he couldn't get shots off. He wasn't going to the body. He wasn't using his superior size on Jake. I heard Nikisa Badarian say afterwards that AJ was leaning on Jake. Come on. Jake was leaning into AJ, falling into AJ, and that's why those clinches were taking place. AJ is purportedly one of the best heavyweights in boxing. AJ believes he's on the level that he should challenge Tyson Fury. That wasn't the kind of performance that makes me believe Anthony Joshua is still a high-level heavyweight.
Well, you're wrong again. Anthony Joshua didn't look great because he wasn't allowed to look great. When you're in there with a smaller fighter that refuses to engage, refuses to box, to fight, he's running. Think of Canelo Williams' school. Canelo didn't look good, and he got accused of not being able to.
Okay, can I just 1 second? 1 second. I knew you were going to go there.
Oh,
Williams' school was an undefeated 168-pounder with a deep amateur background. Jake Paul is a guy who lost to Tommy Fury with no amateur background. So don't compare the two. Don't compare Williams' school to Jake Paul. It's not the same thing.
No, but I can compare a man running for his life and another man running for his life. These guys didn't want to engage. They didn't want to try to win. Now, I told you, Jake Paul was going to look for one shot. That's the overhand right. And once he misses that, he's going to realize he's in for a